Right guys, welcome back to the Adventure Athletes podcast. Today we've got another great episode for you where we sit down and talk with the Mountain Men UK about their recent attempt to complete the Welsh 3000s challenge in under 10 hours. They did this to fundraise for the Azalea Foundation, and in this episode we speak about how the challenge went, all of the fundraising that they've done, and their philosophy for not just completing challenges like this, but also for how to improve themselves as people. Okay, if you like this episode, make sure you follow us on Spotify, check us out on Instagram and share our content, and drop a comment on what you want to hear about next. All of your support is really appreciated and it really helps the podcast grow. Now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome you to the Adventure Athletes podcast. Welcome back to the Adventure Athletes podcast, guys. We've got two very special guests. We've got Arun and Perry from the Mountain Men UK. They've recently completed the Welsh 3000s challenge, which is the 15 tallest mountains in Wales. They did it in 11 hours and 55 minutes.
10 hours.
10 hours. Sorry, my bad.
Wait for shade, Joe.
Do you guys want to just introduce the challenge to us and then talk a little bit about why you did the challenge as well?
Yeah, so the Welsh 3000s are the 15 mountains in Wales that are all over 3,000 feet. So the 15 highest mountains in Wales. And the traditional Welsh 3000s challenge is to summit all 15 in 24 hours. And we first heard about them, my granddad told me about them. My granddad was into mountaineering and he explained this challenge called the 15 Peaks Challenge. And I said to Perry, because we'd done a couple of challenges last year for charity, we carried a 45-pound rock up.
You carried a 45-pound.
Yeah, it was a team effort.
Did I hold hands as well?
I was there for moral support.
And then Perry grappled for 24 hours straight.
Nice.
Yeah.
It wasn't nice. No. I'm still paying for that one.
But yes, so we'd last year between the two of us we'd raised over £2,000. Yeah, over £2,000 for childhood cancer, with different endurance challenges, and we decided we wanted to carry it on. We wanted to.
You decided you wanted to carry it on.
I decided that I wanted us to carry on.
You tell your version of the story, yeah? And then I'll clear it all up after people get the jet.
I decided. Sorry, my headphones fall off. I decided. So I went to Perry and I said to him, there's this challenge called the Welsh 3000s challenge. You have to summit the 15 highest mountains in Wales in 24 hours. I reckon we could do it in 15 hours. 15 peaks in 15 hours. Sounds like it's got a nice ring to it. So that's where we originally started. Perry was like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah.
Less enthusiasm.
No, you were quite enthusiastic at that initial stage.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I must be remembering wrong. My bad.
So yeah, originally the target was 15 hours, and then after the first training run, for whatever reason, we decided that we're going to bring it down to 10 hours.
Well, we said 12 first.
Did we say 12?
We said 12. It came down to 12.
Okay.
Because I did the math. I was like, we can do this, bro. 4K an hour is not that hard. You know?
So there's a lot of negotiating going on there.
Well, yeah. So basically, it just kept going down. We landed on 10. That was the start of this year. And then we went from there.
I love that.
10 is quite ambitious, isn't it? Trail runners, like you said in some of your posts, will aim for sub 12, and that's a good time. So what made you finally decide on 10?
So I did the math. Okay, like 4K an hour isn't an unattainable speed. Like nothing on your back, like going as fast as you can. Like there's no reason you should drop under 4K an hour. So if the 15 peaks, the route you choose is 44 kilometers. The slowest you do it is 4K an hour. You're doing it 11 hours. So as long as on the uphill you can maintain 4K an hour, on the flats on the downhill you're doing what 6, 8, 10 kilometers an hour. You should be able to get under 10 hours. Like just logistically, it's very, very feasible. But then, you know, bad weather, a couple wrong turns, a few niggles that slow you down on the day, like, then realistically it's not as attainable as it looks on paper. Well, no, it is, but, you know, we didn't do it because we suck. But I stand by it. It's very doable. It is doable. Like if people are like, oh, 12 hours is a good time, they need to like do the calculations and realize that that's calm, man. You can do that. You can do that. You know what I mean? We just messed up. We failed. Everyone in the hiking community is like, you did real good. No, we didn't. We're failures. We suck. There was a big mix of arrogance and ignorance. And we should be getting absolutely slated on Instagram instead of people going thumbs up. Like, no, this is not what we want. We're gonna go back and do it again. Cut that out. I didn't say that.
Yeah, not for a while. Not for a while.
That was going to be my next question. When's attempt 2? If we're not happy with it, when's it happening?
I don't know what Perry's saying, but I'm saying in 3 hours' time we go back, we do it again.
3 hours, yeah?
No, in three. Did I say 3 hours? In 3 years' time. Sorry, in 3 years' time.
I was gonna say.
3 hours.
Straight from the podcast.
Break the world
get it back up
record
there.
by 25%. No, in 3 years, I'm saying we go back and we do it in 8.
Why 3 years?
Because I don't want to do that again for a long time. Not that route. I'm fed up of yeah.
So for you, Per, do you think this is now the start of even more bigger challenges going forward?
We'll
Yeah.
hear from them separately, I think. Or Terry seems to have very
He's
different
zoned out. He
ideas.
don't want to know.
Look, the kind of people that we are, regardless of whether we're doing it for charity, whether we're going to publicise it and make a big deal out of it like we did for this one, we're always going to be challenging ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's just the kind of people we are. We want to push ourselves to the limit. We believe there's a lot to be gained from taking on voluntary suffering. So yeah, whether it's publicised or not, whether it's for charity or not, for sure, we're going to be taking on bigger and bigger challenges. And yeah, I think we definitely think there's no point in going back. There's no point doing something easier than you've already done in terms of a challenge, because then that's not a challenge, you know what I mean? If you know you've already hit a high level, you've done something more difficult, then the only place to go is up from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the 3000s, was that a supported challenge? Did you have a support crew with you, or was that completely self-sufficient?
We had Aaron's dad and a photographer my mum met like a week before that came down and helped us out, dish us jelly babies whenever we came off the mountain. So
I like it. Nice and minimal.
Yeah, so we had a little support team. We didn't have to carry all the water and food. Yeah.
It makes a massive difference, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what have we got planned next?
it's hunting season, boys.
Yeah.
It's hunting
man.
season.
Yeah.
Like I do MMA and jiu-jitsu, Aaron does jiu-jitsu, and it's traveling up and down the country, bodying everyone who thinks they can take us on, mate. So that's the next 6 months.
Yeah.
When you
We'll see
grapple
what
on a
comes
peak,
after.
mountain summit grapple session.
I've been saying this for months,
man.
mate. I was like, if anyone has a problem, they can meet me at the top of Crib Golf and I'll beat them up on the summit and then run the rest of the Snowdon Massif as well. 'Cause that's what we do.
I like it. You become like a proper like Shaolin warrior monk and break. I know a chap with CF, and he climbed I think it was Kilimanjaro, and they had a boxing match on the summit for charity.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, they just beat the shit out of each other
Yeah.
for like 10 rounds or something.
That's cool.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the focus now for the next 6 months. Like I said, that was our primary focus before this, and I naively thought that I would be able to carry on training that full time and take this on. But the Welsh 3000s just ended up not just taking priority, it took I speak for myself. It took all of my training time for like the 3 months leading up. So I've got a lot of catching up to do in terms of my competitive goals, grappling wise. Perry wants to get back out there fighting and competing. So yeah, that's the main focus for now.
Is it anything you learn on the mat that really helped you when you came to not just preparing for but executing this challenge on the day?
Rather than the mat specifically, I think just being athletes, competing, having a competitive mindset, having experience in terms of physical training, just everything from prehab to rehab, to how to build endurance, how to build your cardiovascular system. We obviously took all that experience in with us, leading up to the challenge. So more than anything specifically from grappling and fighting, I think just competing as an athlete in general.
Yeah. So that mindset, that headspace, that systematic approach to things.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
What did your training look like?
Sorry?
What did your training look like? I feel like I'm having a stroke now with it. Oh, jeez.
So, sorry, I didn't catch that.
So, what did training look like?
What did training for the challenge look like?
It looked like a lot of me running off and then finding a nice comfy rock, sitting down, waiting for him to catch up, and then rinse and repeat for 8 hours every Sunday.
Yeah.
And then that was that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how long did you train for it?
So we started in January, didn't we? We started in January, and it wasn't every Sunday that we did a big run. It probably ended up being on average every other week.
Yeah.
And then we do our own runs like midweek and stuff. But yeah, in terms of the big runs out in Snowdonia, it was every other week for ended up being 5 months and a bit.
And then you were back running. Where did you go for that? Was it just like urban running in the gym, or were you trying to hit the trails as often as possible to recreate that terrain?
Yeah, so a mix of stuff really. I defer to Perry when it comes to that stuff because he's much more experienced than me. So he said to me, anything from a 5k to hill sprints, anything in kind of that realm. If you're doing a long run on Sunday, that's anywhere from 6 to 9 hours long, you don't need to be running 20k midweek as well, whether it's over trails or on flat ground. You want to be, building power in the legs, and doing something, that's still high impact to build that tissue tolerance, but something that's over a shorter period of time, so you're not just running your body into the ground. So yeah, 5k, flat ground 5ks or hill sprints, that kind of thing.
Was there any supplementary strength training on the side as well in the gym?
Yeah. So a lot of strength and conditioning work in the gym. Not so much for me in terms of lower body weight sessions because my knees just couldn't take squatting or deadlifting after all the running. But lots of, do you know knees over toes? Like the knees over toes program. So yeah, like lots of knees over toes stuff. So like tib raises, calf raises, Nordics, reverse Nordics, that kind of thing.
Split squat.
Sorry.
ATG split squat.
Yeah. That kind of stuff.
I've been on that grind for years. It's painful. Starting up on the bench, down to flat ground. Just, get on the bottom and you're like, I ain't coming back up.
Yeah.
I'm stuck.
Are you doing it with a barbell? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Like front
That's
rack.
very nice. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Every block I design I'm doing, I stick ATG split squats in now.
Yeah, man. Those movements are money. Really good prehab for your knees. I'd probably recommend that for anybody that wants to do stuff like this.
Any sled work?
No. To be honest, no. Just from, like I said, from all of the work we were getting up on the mountains and then hill sprints and stuff, didn't really use the sled, to be honest. Other than that, for me, it was just a whole lot of stretching and foam rolling.
I bet.
Yeah. Honestly, I was spending like 2 hours on a foam roller some days. Yeah.
How did you physically feel after you finished it?
After the challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, good, bro. Good
Yeah.
to go.
Ready to go again.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried it before. It was stupid because I'd broke my ankle. I was 6 months non-weight bearing in my ankle, and I spent the next like 2 years recovering from it. And then I was like, oh yeah, first thing I'm going to do, my mate wants to do the Welsh 3000s. I've done 0 training. The most distance I'd covered before trying it was like 5 miles. I was like, yeah, I'll go and try it with
Sounds
you.
like this guy, bro.
And then, yeah, I just completely flopped the whole attempt. But we're going back in 5 weeks now to try and do the whole thing.
Yeah, GG, bro.
Any advice for anyone looking to get into it and train for it and everything?
Don't bitch out. Accept it's gonna suck. Like, it's not fun. It's long. It's boring. And if the weather comes in, it's just an all-round bad time. That makes it like 10 times worse. If it's nice and sunny, it's like, oh yeah, woo. When it starts raining sideways and 30-mile-an-hour winds, like that's gonna drain your mental reserves very, very quickly. So just accept that it's not gonna be a fantastic time. And looking back, you'd be like, damn, that went rapid. But at the time when you're in it, it's like this is never gonna end. So just accept that it will. Don't get too much in your own head. Don't make a big deal out of any of the mountains. Like Cribgock was living rent free in Aaron's head for fucking months, bro. And then finally, the third, fourth time we did it, it was like, what was I even flapping about? Like, it's all good. So, just good luck. Take a lot of calories, like dense, small, light things you can just shove in your face as you're pelting it down a hill, and you'll be sound, bro. Yeah, you'll be sound.
What were you feeling on? I have to do this. What were you feeling on when you were doing it? Like,
Jelly babies, bro.
Jelly babies, yeah.
Jelly babies.
Nice. That is a classic.
Jelly babies, bro.
Yeah.
And what did you have, a little fanny pack of energy at the front, just chowing?
Yeah, I had a bottle of squirty honey in my bag strap there as well. So just squeeze that in. Just anything you can eat on the move like that. Yeah.
I've done that in a couple of challenges, the bottle of honey, and you just drizzling it. I think there comes a bit where you can only eat so much sweet stuff on a challenge, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to puke if I have anything else. And someone just comes over with the pork pie, and you're like, yes.
But yeah, I'm big on nutrition. So I'm a PT and I do nutrition plans for people.
Yep.
And I'm really big on not eating processed food. So at the start of the 6 months, I said, yeah, I'm going to have bananas, dates, grapes, really clean sources of fuel. And yeah, again, this guy was right. I realised, we've got these processed foods now today where you can have, as many calories in this jelly baby as you would in like a whole bunch of grapes, which is going to be easier to digest, like on the move. You just need as many calories as possible in as least weight as possible. So,
When we did the Thai push-up in a van, it was just donuts the whole way up and like cans of Coke, and I was like, I just want to fucking hurl. But the last challenge I did, I had to go doing the Liver King, where he's got the Barbarian and then he's got the Super Barbarian, so you use your own body weight for reference for everything. So it's like your whole body weight on the sled, half your body weight on the rucksack, half body weight in each kettlebell, and then it's like 10 kilos of ankle weights. I did that and I tried to eat, because I was having to go at like the diet at the time as well, so I wanted to try and eat as in line with it as I could on the challenge. So I just ate purely fruit for it, and it was so much food you had to put down. I think it's only 2.5 hours, but I think I must have done like 10 bananas in the time, my hands full of berries, and afterwards my guts were just like, they were gone. They were like, and for fat, I just had a giant flask of coffee with those coconut oil in it as well. So I was just chugging down coffee the whole time. It was rough.
That sounds like a spiritual experience.
The bathroom break was afterwards, yeah.
Primal.
Yeah. I think I must have shat so much myself afterwards. I would have looked as lean as him. God, that one was not endurance at all. That was just like 2.5 hours, like a maximal anaerobic. I was so gross. I'm like a really silent trainer. Whenever I'm like weightlifting, anything like that, I'm quite quiet. And I just screamed for 2.5 hours. I felt like a different person the other side of it. It was quite therapeutic.
So you're saying Perry's more experienced in mountains and that sort of training. What's your sort of background with that, Perry?
Yeah, so I was in the Marines for 5.5 years. So like a lot of map reading, a lot of straight line with a lot of weight up big hills. Like that was just a standard, week in, week out thing. Yeah. And I didn't appreciate how much of a boon that would be going into to me it was just whatever, man, anyone could do it. It's not special, like anyone could do this and anyone can do it, but like
And then I was there hobbing along behind him. Like,
Yeah. He was like, "You've done more training than me." I was like, "Yeah, to be fair, actually, if I do the math now, this adds up."
Did you like secretly lie to him? You gave yourself like way more training. And you're like, "Oh, you can just have half, so I feel better on the day."
Well, I didn't know, so I don't know. Maybe like 3 months ago, it's like, "Man, going into this, the most I've done is like a 5K," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, bro." And I was like, "Oh, I wish I'd known that. Going into it. Wish you told me that from the get-go."
Yeah.
Wouldn't have said 10 hours, but hey.
well, that's the thing, because at first we were just going to do it in 24 hours, and I thought we'll bring it down a little bit, so then we'll just have to go a bit quicker on the way up.
Do you ever think of any alternatives with it, like doing it weighted at all, or?
Well, I think that at first.
That was a rock.
But yeah, I don't know. Carrying a rock over the 15 peaks is something else.
That sounds like something I want to do now.
Yeah.
I've got a thing for carrying heavy shit over mountains. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit kinky, exciting.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro. Go for it.
I mean, Aaron suggested it, but 5 years of doing that, I was like, I'm tapping out of there, bro. I've carried my weight, my far distances. I'm not doing it no more.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. But yeah, then as we brought the time down, it went from being a speed hike to a full-on foul run.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't go into it with the thought I'm gonna do a 60k foul run, having only ran 10 kilometers on flat ground before. But that's what it ended up being.
So how long was your actual training period to go from 10k to 60 and 60 foul, which is a totally different beast?
5 months.
5 months. That's a
Yeah.
good solid time.
Yeah. A lot of dedication. Like I said, I was literally living on a foam roller for 2 hours a day. Some days, like I was all into it. Like I said, grappling's my primary endeavour, and I had to just give that up for 3 months, which wasn't an easy decision. I didn't want to do that, but I got to the point where I realised if I wanted to hit this challenge in the time that we'd set, then that was a sacrifice that was going to have to be made.
Was there any other sort of sacrifices? Because I know a lot of people talk about sacrifice a lot, but they normally mean giving up things you don't like to do what you do like. But there comes a point where you just have to start giving up things you absolutely love, like grappling.
Yeah.
To be like, right, this is the reality of it. If I don't give this up, I won't be able to do this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what else did you have to sacrifice, do you think?
The hours in the week.
Yeah.
So, a 3.5, 4 hour drive to Snowdonia.
Yeah.
6 to 8 hours on the mountains, 3.5, 4 hour drive back to, Leicestershire. A lot of time in a week, however many hours, 14 hours, something like a week. Like, that's a lot of time, man. That's
That
like,
is.
I'm not seeing no one on the weekend. I'm not going to see my family. I'm not doing what I want on a Sunday or a Saturday evening. It's all very, and now I've got that time back. I'm very, very grateful for it.
Yeah.
So, you gotta have the dark to appreciate the light, and that was one thing I really took for granted, is how much time is in a week when you know having to go to Snowdonia and smash yourself up a big hill,
So you gave up your grappling. Was you still grappling?
I was
during it?
whatever, bro. There was no change week in, week out, bro. There were some days I was just fed up, so I just sat there with a vape driving to Snowdonia, like, this isn't optimal, but I don't care at this point. But yeah, dude, like, no, it was, yeah.
Training as
Mondays was stiff, and then it was fun. Yeah, fun.
Big difference in how you've approached it compared to your backgrounds there. So military, just like, let's get on with it, come on. Yeah, I don't know why you're giving up grappling, we got to fight, come on. And then you're just like, no, I need to rest.
I think I've gone through that. I've done that. I've made that sacrifice when I was in training. It was like, I can't do MMA. I can't fight people. I'm barely making it through this process. I can't be throwing leg kicks and getting leg kicked on a Wednesday whenever I'm leave or whatever. So I've made that sacrifice, and thank God it stayed with me despite not doing mad miles anymore. I've still got that tissue tolerance. I've still got that endurance to rely on when I change my training and reintroduce these long runs. Like, it's still there. So, like, don't get twisted. Like, I made that sacrifice, but I made it years ago. So I got to now have the benefits, and that's Aaron, in 5 years when he wants to do something stupid, you don't have to make the sacrifice twice.
Yeah.
Cool. So you did it for charity. What made you pick that charity? Why the Azalea Foundation?
Yeah, so 2 reasons really. Like I said, we both of the challenges we did last year, we did for childhood cancer, different childhood cancer charities. And the reason why we'd chose childhood cancer before as a cause is because it's a cause everyone can get behind. I think obviously there's a lot of worthy causes out there, but when it comes to children and really saving children's lives and just giving them a shot at life, I think we can all agree that's, if that's not top priority, then what else is? It's only sharing the top spot with some other causes that are really in need of our support. So that's why childhood cancer in general. And then the Azalea Foundation is a cause that's close to my heart personally. I know the people that founded the foundation. They lost their baby girl to leukemia a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's very close to my heart on a personal level. So that's why we chose the Azalea Foundation particularly.
Do you find any sort of moments throughout the challenge where you were like, I'm fucking crushed, why am I doing this? Did that sort of picture of this is why I'm doing it, this is what I'm fundraising for, did that come to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that got me through the wall more than once. Up on the glider rod, that's the longest section, that's the toughest section, that's where we lost the most time, and that's when the first cold, where the cold started to really come in, and I fell into a bit of a hole, like metaphorically speaking, and literally. And literally. And yeah, the thought of, like I said, like all of these children as a whole, but then in particular Azalea and her parents, like that carried me through. I always think of it this way, like it's a blessing to be able to do these things. These children like just want a chance to be able to go outside and play with their mates, maybe climb a mountain one day, but they're not even thinking about that. They're just thinking about, they just want a normal life, and a lot of them don't even know what a normal life is. They've been born into this battle that they're faced with every day. They don't get a choice. Like, we like to think that we have a choice. Oh, we can just come down from the mountain, pack up, go home, go at it again another day when the conditions are better, when we feel better. How could we do that when we're doing it for like I said, the cause we're doing it for? These children don't get a choice. They're faced with that battle, regardless of whether they feel like facing it that day, regardless of whether the sun's shining in the sky, no matter what's going on, they have to fight. So the thought of that always carries me through.
So getting to choose to suffer is an absolute privilege.
It is. It's a blessing to be able to do these things. And don't get me wrong, it sucks, but it's a privilege, to have the physical ability to be able to run over 15 mountains in 11 hours or whatever it is you're going to do to compete in whatever sport you want to compete in. Yeah, it's tough, but you've got to keep that perspective that not everybody gets to do this. So
I like that idea of people, because I see this exercise a lot, people like, I have to go to this class, I've got to go, and it's like, you don't have to go, you get to go.
Yeah.
That's how I try to see it.
Yeah. That's a perspective I like to hold. You've got to think about it that way. Yeah.
So then you did the challenge, you realised you didn't make it in the time. Emotionally, how did that affect you guys? Was it like a big deal? Was it like, fuck, I've fucked this up now? Or was it like, we've done it, let's like recoup and figure out a plan for next time?
For me, like, neither. There wasn't a big, like, ooh, achievement, yeah, but there wasn't a big, like, oh my god, end of the world. It was just like, would have been nice, didn't get it, still healthy, still got 2 legs, still can't lose perspective about the people that we've just been talking about and what they're going through. Like, it's not that deep, nowhere near that deep. It's like, the only disappointment in life from not achieving something is because you've not reached the standard you've set yourself. Like, doesn't matter what other people expected for us, it's what we expected for ourselves. And it's like, I wanted to do it in 10 hours. We could have done it in 10 hours. We didn't. Okay, sound. Why didn't we? If we do it again, we will do it in 10 hours. Like, there's no, like, emotional attached to it. It's just purely pragmatic. Do the math. Where did we go wrong? What can we do better? And we go forward. Like, there's no, I'm not,
Yeah.
with anything I've achieved or not achieved in life, it's never been a big high or a big low. It's just a...
So you didn't really beat yourself up about it at all, because you're putting everything you could, the conditions just, they're not always there. I think that's quite a big difference with, we look at quite a lot with adventure athletes, is we've got like athletic and then we got adventure. And adventure is very different to athletic. We had a chap on the other day, Dion, and we were talking quite a lot about the difference between athletic training and more kind of like the military conditioning. So more being able to perform at your best no matter the conditions, no matter how you feel, versus performing at your best when you've slept for a week, you've been sort of babied around by a coach, you take you in, you put in the gym, and it's the perfect conditions. Not so much like babied around, but you're performing at the peak of human performance under the most optimal conditions, and you are in your optimal condition. Whereas going into more like military style training, you got to be at your best even when you're sleep deprived, even when you're hungry, even when you're battered, and when you're going into something that is definitely not optimal condition.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think yeah, I think that's like an elite mindset, man. I really think that is a hard thing to get, is a mindset that just doesn't care about anything out here, about the weather, about how you feel, about what your body's saying. Like, to just go in and regardless of what's in front of you, just attack it is not an easy mind space or a mindset to develop. It takes years of just suffering and just embracing the suck to develop that.
That's something you can't buy in any book.
No, right. No, dude. That's yeah, I'm still working it out. There's no days off with that. You can have days off with training, but you can't have days off with this, man.
No.
It's rents due every day. So, yeah, when I figure it out, I'll let you know.
You write a book then.
Yeah.
So then, what did happen on the day that means you didn't hit the target you achieved? What are the things that you've picked out being like, right, this is what went wrong, this is what's not going to go wrong next time, or if this does go wrong, this is how we'll approach it differently? What are those sort of learning points from the challenge?
Couple wrong turns. So I went down, shouldn't have got down, had to go back up, lost some time there. And the biggest one was just, like, too slow, man.
Yeah.
Just too slow. Yeah. Like, that's it. Just move faster and we would have done it. Like, that's it. So
yeah. I slowed down too much between, like, glider 4 and to Triffin, really. Yeah, like, it's just one of those things.
Where did you find you lost the time more? Was it on the climbs, was it on the flat, or was it actually on the downhill?
It wasn't dependent on whether we were going up, whether we were flat, whether we were going down. Like I said, that was the point where the cold, the wind, the rain, like, first properly set in.
Yeah.
And the cold just saps your energy.
It does.
And like in that moment, like, I realised I was like fading, I was slowing down, and you know what I mean. It's easier said than done to just speed up. But going back to, like I said, that's what Pez was talking about, an elite mindset. Yeah, it's easier said than done to speed up, but that's all you've got to do at the end of the day, and you just got to find a way to tap into that. I was cramming my face full of jelly babies to try and bring myself back alive. It's easy to look back on it and think, oh, I should have just sped up, but it's yeah, like when you're in that moment, it can be hard to pull yourself out of that hole. But that's where we lost the most time, and like I said, on those wrong turns as well, because it was just pure whiteout on the glider roar and on top of the Carnador. When we got up to the top of Pennyrowan, we started heading to what we thought was, what's the one after Pennyrowan? Carnad Daffed.
Something like that.
Yeah, the next one along, and thankfully I did, because we didn't look at the map. I just thought it's this way. We started heading down, and the clouds just parted slightly for a few seconds, and I saw this really imposing mountain, and I thought, wow, like, I can't remember any mountain looking like that on the Carnador. That kind of looks like Triffin, And then I was like, oh wait, that is triplet. And it became apparent in that moment we started heading down the other side of Penrolwen. So yeah, like I said, we lost a chunk of time going down there and coming back up. But yeah, other than those wrong turns, it was that portion on the glider, or like I say, it's just about developing this more and more. Like I said, that's on me that I slowed down, and it took as long as it did for me to come back alive and pick the pace back up again. Yeah.
And that's the nature of venturing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to take a lot of wrong turns, you've got to fuck up a lot, and you've got to get used to it.
Yeah.
I think it's got like a bit of sweetness to it. Like, you'll fuck up sometimes, but sometimes you almost have more lessons out of that, and you can actually find that more fulfilling in the long run.
Yeah, man. What's the old saying? The secret ingredient to success is defeat. So, yeah.
And
just use it as a lesson for next time.
What was the hardest part physically of the whole challenge? Was there like a certain section that was more difficult? Was there a section that was like more mentally
bad
difficult?
boy blister, mate. Like, it was relentless, bro. Like, that was horrific. Still not healed, mate. I'm gonna say that. That was the worst bit. I don't know. Probably either the climb up the gliders or Penny Owen. That was probably the two. Like, that glider 4 was just a long shit, not technical, just slog, mate.
And
Slog. It just goes on
leader 4,
forever,
glider
man.
4. Yeah.
So, I'd say that. I'd say that was just, are we there yet?
Yeah.
The rest of it was whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were saying earlier, Aaron, you was a bit maybe like anxious. Maybe that's the wrong word, but for the Crib Gork.
Terrified, bro. Terrified. We went up.
Not at all. Not at all.
We went up, and then we tried to attack it for the first time. Me, Aaron, Kieran, who was with us at the time, another one of the boys that used to train BJJ with us. R.I.P. He's not dead. He moved to Devon, but he might as well.
We lost him on Crib Gork.
And we didn't crack it. Weather conditions weren't there. It was like bad time of year. I think it was January, so there wasn't that many hours in a day. It was fairly late, so it was like, whatever. So we went to do it, we didn't do it, turned around. And Aaron was like, oh man, Crib Gork. And then a couple weeks later he messaged me, he was like, man, I've been looking at the death statistics, bro. I'm like, what are you doing? Don't do that, you're crazy.
In hindsight though, look, that's it's easy to say now because it did live in my head rent-free for a while.
A long while.
A long while.
Months.
A long while. So we did it the first time in February after we'd come back down on January, and that was one of those where it was raining, the winds were incredibly high. If you'd stood up, you would have got blown off the ridge.
It wasn't that bad.
You would have got blown off the ridge.
It wasn't that bad.
No, that's a fact. That's not me
It's
exaggerating.
not a fact, Harry. It wasn't that bad.
Whether you want to dispute that or not, Perry with his iron glutes just standing there on the top of Crib Gork with 30 mile per hour winds coming against him. Maybe he would have got blown off.
A bit of training.
But for us mortals, we would have been, away with the clouds. Regardless, it was terrible conditions when we first did it in February. And yeah, I really didn't want to do it again. If we hadn't set the challenge in stone, I don't know how long it would have been before I would have brought myself to go back up there.
Yeah.
But then we did it again a few weeks later, a couple of months later, and nice sunny day, and it was calm. And then since then, we've done it in conditions that were just as bad as when we did it in February. And again, it's all just mental. It was never an ability thing. That's what Pez kept saying to me. It's like, it's not an ability issue. I'd say, I'm not a confident climber, this and that. It's like, it's not an ability issue. It's just this. And once I'd done it once, or done it twice rather, then that was it. I know I could do it. And on the day of the challenge, the conditions were atrocious, but it was calm. It was calm, No matter what chaos is going on around you, if you can stay calm here, then it doesn't matter. Yeah.
That was the biggest thing that I said the most, is like, your body can do this 100%. Your body can keep up with my body. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Like, you can do this. It's just whenever it was like sharp, jagged rocks underfoot. It'd be slow down so much. I'm like, you don't need to, man. Just believe in yourself, back yourself, trust your body, trust your legs. This is no harder than sprawling on a big, strong wrestler. This is no harder than doing grappling. It's easier than that, yeah? So just back yourself, trust your feet, you'll make the landing, and we can get some pace on, you know? And then we started to see that. Like, he turned up on the day, like 100% he turned up on the day. Like, there were times on the downhill I'd be off, and I'd be gone, and I'd be fucking looking, man, he's disappeared, man. I don't know where he's going. I'm not waiting. But on the day, man, he was there, he was next to me the whole time, in front of me sometimes, on the downhills, these dodgy, rocky downhills, he was there for the, you know what I mean, for the first third. And I was like, where's this been for the last 6 months? I told you, bro, this was not an ability thing. This was not your body. It's been your head. And you turned up mentally on the day. You know, we faded a bit. We died at the gliders. Khalas, bro. But you turned up. You showed up. And that meant a lot to me. That was like, yeah, proud of you, bro. There's nothing.
What do you think is the best way to get out of that headspace and into what you were saying?
Bro, you just gotta live it, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta live it.
It's experience.
Yeah, you just have to go and put yourself in positions that truly, truly suck, and you really don't think you're gonna be able to do over and over and over again, and before you know it, you're a G. Like, everyone's got the ability to be a bad man. Everyone. It's like, people just choose not to, cause it sucks. Like, for a good reason. Like, yeah. I don't blame you for choosing to not be a bad motherfucker. Like, it's not a fun life. But you can, like, it's within anyone if you want it, you know, but you have to choose. Do you want a nice, cushy, happy, comfortable life? Or do you want discomfort and struggle and triumph? Because you cannot have both. You can't, unfortunately. No. You know, not at the same time anyway.
No.
What is, like, the first step for someone that's looking at the stuff that you guys sort of do and listening to this, they want that sort of mindset? How do they get from their comfortable life to taking that first step to building that mindset?
Just get out there and do it, man. Yeah, man. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like Goggins says, man. Like, there's well, as Ronnie Coleman says, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. And like Goggins said, he gets people messaging him and asking him, "Oh, how do I get out of this?" And he says, "I used to have this condition too. It's called being a bitch." And you know what I mean? It sounds offensive, but he's not calling people a bitch. He's just saying there's nothing to it. But you know, there's no trick to, you know, becoming like he is. You've just got to do the action.
Just put in the work.
Yeah, you just got to put in the work, put in the action. You can use whatever psychological tricks you want to try and get yourself out there. That's going to be different for everyone. But at the end of the day, it's as simple as just getting up, putting your shoes on, walking out the door, and doing it.
Because what I found personally from knowing people that have done things like this and knowing a lot of people that haven't done things like this is the ones that have, and I know me and Taylor have spoken about this before, they've gone to a point where it's almost like rock bottom. They've had something really hard happen in their life. For me, I was homeless. Taylor used to be morbidly obese.
I was at 18 stone.
And
I'd be sat like back here now if I was at the table.
Yeah, and once they've hit that point, like, they've gone to that point where it's like, I have to change. Whereas a lot of people never get to that point because they are in that comfortable life. And all the people I see have hit that point, then go off to do something amazing. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can get more people that can get to this amazing stage without having to hit that rock bottom first.
Yeah. I think when it comes down to the psychology of it, what does it for me? And that's me. I can't pretend it's a struggle for me to go and train. I've always wanted to go and train. I've never, you know what I mean, really like suffered from a lack of motivation in that regard. And I think that's just because naturally I've always been quite a driven person.
Yeah.
But whenever I've needed to convince myself to push on, I just know when I think about it, the pain and suffering I'm going to get from the regret of not finding out how far I could go, that pain and suffering is going to be worse than anything I can put myself through. At the end of the day, you know, whenever your number's up and you're lying there in the last few moments of your life, yeah, like, I obviously I haven't been there yet, but I know, you know, if there's any untapped potential, you're going to feel that at the end, and you're going to regret that, and I don't want that. I don't want to live with that. So that's the psychology that goes on in my
I
mind.
think, that the pain of inaction is greater than the pain of action, and that's that. Yeah.
It's that sort of balance of, would you rather suffer now or would you rather suffer later?
I think that's it, right? I think that's what takes people to rock bottom, is everyone knows what they need to do in a day. Everyone's like, I should spend less time on my phone. I shouldn't have Mackies. I should have a banana. I should get to bed at this time instead of this time. I should get, like, everyone knows, and people choose not to do it, and that adds up, man. Like every time you neglect a necessity, and I don't mean like eating and sleeping, I mean like a spiritual necessity of like training, of voluntary stuff, like you're fighting something off by doing these things. And when you choose not to do it, and you choose to go and buy a vape, or choose not to neglect, this side of things, this training, this I'm gonna go out and adventure and conquer. If you neglect that adds up, and then that's what gets you to all these little tiny knocks. Eventually, you can't fight off and ignore anymore. You are forced to acknowledge it, and then all of these years of pent up neglect just fires out, and you go and destroy something, like in the best way possible, in a positive way. And I think that's how you get out and do it, is you acknowledge that by not doing it, you're neglecting something very, very important. I can't speak for women, but like as a man for sure, like there's something in me that makes you want to go out and like just conquer or fix or destroy or like just do something powerful. Like, I need to, and if I don't do that, I'm less happy than when I am, so.
I think it's got a lot to do with freedom as well. If there's certain things you can't do, then that's a limit. That's a ceiling on you. That's a wall. There are walls around you. If you're scared of doing something, if you're scared of, pushing out sprints on the air dying because it sucks, or you're scared of heights, so you can't go up Crib Got. Like, I want to feel free. I don't know if there's anything higher than freedom. What the highest values in this existence that you can experience? Freedom, love. They're probably top two, right?
Yeah, quite
Truth.
often freedom comes first as well for most people.
Yeah,
like,
man.
they get in a relationship, they're like, I want love, and then after like a couple too many texts, they're like, okay, I want to be free. I need to go for a run.
Yeah, so I think that's a big thing of it, a big thing about it. Like, I want to be free, and if I'm not pushing myself to my full potential, if I don't know where my limits are, then how can I ever truly be free? So I think that's a big thing. I think that's a big thing as well.
That reminds me of what's the Bruce Lee quote? Is using no limitations, limitation.
I don't know.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
I know a couple. I don't know that one.
I did it before, and then we had Craig on the podcast, and he
Yeah.
said about the first line bit, which is using no way as way, and I was like, I've heard that one before, and I was like, I'm gonna have to look at this one tonight. And it's like using no way as way, using no limitation as limitation. I definitely came across in a couple of books before, but recently that's been one I've been coming to quite a lot.
Have you read it, like, because all of Bruce Lee's stuff comes from like Buddhism and Taoism? You read any of the Taoist stuff?
Yeah, quite a lot. I'm quite
in
into Tai Chi, so we're going Taoism quite a lot.
Yeah, boy, bad boy, mate. Like martial arts and kind of like Eastern philosophy, and I think the Stoics as well. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of overlap there. Like in terms of Venn diagrams, so like they touch.
Yeah, there is something right in between those two. I think is perfect.
Miyamoto's Musashi.
Yes.
Man, the Dokudo, Go Rendo Show.
Yes.
Yeah, bad boy, mate. Bad boy.
I've been reading the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right now. Oh, in fact, that's in my bag in there. I think it's the Hagagakure. So it's about Bushido, the Samurai Code.
Yeah, boy.
And it's a bit like Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. It's just loads of little journal entries by this guy. And it's not just him, there's a couple of other samurai as well over years, and you get to see their code in action. Some of it you're like, that's fucking nuts. Some of it you're like, wow, it's amazing. They've got such a different attitude towards death as well. You get up and you're like, just accept that you could be ordered to kill yourself today to prove how loyal you are to your Lord, and if you know that, rest of life's okay.
Bro,
Like,
for real,
so
bro.
what?
The path to victory is to fight like you're already dead. I say this to myself every morning, bro. And like, I can't tell you how much better I spar and do rounds and compete when I'm like I could break my leg, irrelevant, send it, and attack this, and if you win, you win, and if you die, you die, and the difference is unbelievable. Like, I went training with, like, you know, my toenail fell off because of this fucking 15 peaks thing, I've got this bad blister, and I was just thinking about it, and it was stopping me from my own kicks, and it was stopping me from doing things, and I was, like, 30-40% of what I know I could be, and, like, that just comes from having something that's stopping me from just not caring. You have to not care. When you're doing these challenges, when you're doing these hard things, you should adopt that mindset of just irrelevant how I feel, irrelevant if I die, irrelevant if I win, just fucking go, and like that.
I had that, I did a little bit of BJJ for a while, and I was on the mat, and I had a shit week, like everything had gone wrong, and I went and I was like, I just need to fucking destroy myself today or destroy someone else in the process, and I went on that, and I don't know what he was putting on me, because I wasn't there that long, but he was just pushing my rotator cuff back, and he said, dude, you gotta tap. He was like to me, you gotta tap now. And I was like, fuck no. And then something crunched really hard, and he said, you have to tap. And I just went, no! And I just started pushing back the other way. He was like, what the fuck, you have to tap now. And I was like, no. And I just kept going to the, didn't win, but just kept going to the buzzer, just would not give in. And I finished the session, I was like, oh, that was therapeutic as fuck.
You know.
So, touching on philosophy then, do you guys have any philosophical practices, any mental practices that you do, like meditation, journaling, anything like that?
Yeah, man. My routine is very regimented in a minute. It's like, it's pretty on point, mate. Train twice a day every day, meditate for like 5-10 minutes first thing in the morning, sit there with my eyes shut, just listen to the noises, like, that's good. A lot of yoga at the minute, trying to bring everything back into balance after dedicating so much time to running. You know what I mean? I've lost a lot of strength in other areas, so I'm like, let's be sensible about this, Perry, instead of just go and try and clean and jerk your max. Let's build up properly. And yeah, man, I got a journal. It's pretty filled out at the minute, mate. Got a lot of sad thoughts that need to come out. Like, journaling's for sad people. Journaling and poetry, not for sad people.
Yeah.
Happy people don't like poetry, bro. Happy people like songs. So.
Do you journal first thing, or was it something you do in the afternoon?
When I feel like it, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it. Like, generally, when everything's going good and I'm in a great mood and la-da-da-da-da, I don't care. But when I'm a bit sad...
I'm like that.
Yeah.
I stopped journaling, and then I'm like, oh, life's really good. And then I look at the book, and I opened it, and I was like, oh, fuck, I was in a dark place when I did that. Now, for me, it is every single night. It's like, like cold shower, breath work, meditate after the breathing, then meditate with a clear head and try to reflect on the day. And I found that for me, I got more out of it than just going to it and I was sad, because I was just kind of repeating myself. And it was like, oh, I'll do that, and I'd be like, cool, I'm happy now.
Do you find a difference between meditating in the morning and the evening? Because I've seen some people say that they really struggle to do it late, but
I can't do it late.
Doing it in the morning helps them out, or have you only ever done it in the evening?
I tend to do it in the evening, but if I find time, I will nip it in the day as well. And I might do it in a different way as well. Like, I might do some breath work in the day to meditate. But I found I actually like that, because I struggle at night, because I'm tired, I'm putting myself in a place where my head's already less functional, and then I'm actually trying to tax it to focus better. So that's kind of my thought process behind it. And that's just where it fits in my routine, where I can actually get it in consistently as well.
That's the adventure athlete in you. It's like, I'm going to make this as hard as possible.
Oh yeah, I'm going to sit on a yoga ball and do it as well, roll around.
See, I find I have to do it in the morning. I can't do it in the evening, simply because it will help me just get that focus and get that drive first thing. Sometimes if I haven't journaled in the morning, I'm like dossing about, I'm like, oh, I have to go and train in a bit. And then if I've journaled, I'm like, right, journaling's done, go train, right, cold shower, and it just sets the day.
Yeah, you notice the difference. But you have this little 5-10 minute thing and improves your day. You know,
and I have to meditate before I journal.
Yeah.
Because it just, rather than having all these jumbled thoughts that I'm trying to like process while I'm sitting down, it just clears my head, and then it's like, this is what's important.
Just attack the day.
And then, sets me right up then.
I like reading first thing in the morning normally. So get up, I've got everything ready the night before, I close out, breakfast is out, so just come down, kettle on, bum, feed dogs, press coffee, and then I just sit down and I'll just open up a book first thing, and that's what I normally do at the start of the day. I find for me that like I'm instantly focusing, so I'm not thinking, and I'm kind of and instantly give myself a source of energy. I'm reading something, I'm like, fuck, this is good. And I go about my day with what I've just, like, especially with the book I'm reading at the moment, like with the Samurai, I can take what I've learned at the beginning of the day, and I can kind of contemplate on it throughout the day as I go through things. Oh, that's coming up there. And then I sit down to journal at night there, and I find like, oh shit, that's coming up, and I notice that about the day more.
I feel like that's one of the best feelings, is when you read something about any of these books, like the Stoics, the Samurais, the Buddhists, whatever, and then you start to see it in a day. You're like, oh wow, there's so much truth to it. I feel that's a really cool feeling. I enjoy that.
Yeah, amazing. Right, do you have any more questions, Taylor?
I could probably go on for hours, you know me.
Yeah, I do know you. We haven't had as many tangents today, so it's alright. Is there anything you guys want to ask before you go?
What's your guys' next challenge?
Oh, well.
Go on, you're...
I'm in the process of building mine, actually, so I've got 2 ideas running. One is about 3 weeks ago, I drove down to Taunton and I picked up it was a £110 boat anchor, and I'm just going to do some with it. Probably a marathon across the coast, I'm thinking. Just
cool.
run with it on my shoulders.
Yeah.
The other thing was, this was kind of based on what you said, you were like, I'd do a load of overhead presses with it, because I found it's quite fun to do clean and jerk with it, or snatch.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so we're like 45 to 50 kilos, so it's like, it's a nice spot where you can just clean it while it's still awkward. So I was like, what if I did like 8,000 leagues into the sea? Like 8,000 clean and jerks in a day. But then the other thing as well, which is also kind of inspired by Will's challenge in itself, because Will does inspire me in some regard, is because he's got the 12 labours. I like the idea of doing another project that's more based of little components. And because I'm reading this book on the samurai at the moment, I was like, I wouldn't mind building something around the Bushido code. So the 7 different virtues of Bushido, and I was like, the 7 days in a week. Could do 7 weeks, could do 7 days, could do 7 trials, each to reflect each virtue. So I'm toying around with that idea at the moment, but it's very much the planning stage.
I like that one. That's cool.
Yeah, and then mine, as Taylor touched on, I'm doing a 12 labours project.
I've seen the first one's crossed out.
Yeah. So it was 2 months ago, I think, maybe less. I did a 50-mile barefoot walk across the Brecons.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. The next one on the list is actually the Welsh 3000s, which, fingers crossed, I'll do in 4 weeks' time.
Buckers, mate, smash it.
You better do it in like 10:54, like 10:53.
You've got the time to beat, bro. That was spite.
That's something I'll start training for. Next time you guys for sub 10, I'll be there with you.
Yeah, let's go,
Put it
bro.
that way.
Yeah,
nice.
But yeah, we're doing it completely self-sufficient. Last time we did it, I said that I messed it up. We was doing it in November as well, so it was pissing it down, and we was camping the night before, and my mate was like, yeah, let's like pack bare minimums, and I was like, yeah, like waterproofs and that. It was like, nah, like literally strip it down. I was the only one that turned up without any of the stuff, and because we was camping there, I was sleeping in like soaking wet clothes. I had hypothermia first thing in the morning before we started climbing, and I was like, no, this isn't the one. So next time we do it, it should feel like a breeze.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I got 10 more after that I'm gonna do, ranging from like, I want to do a marathon tire flip, I want to do rope climb, height of Everest, things like that. So yeah, lots of training to go.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
So then, where can folks go to find you online, see what you're about, get involved with you?
Back, mate. He's a CMO.
Yeah.
So Mountain Men UK.
Yep.
That's the handle on Instagram. Instagram's really the only social media we use. So yeah, check us out on there. Just want to say as well before we finish, thank you to everyone who donated and supported the fundraiser. As much as it's great that we did it for the personal challenge, and we climbed 15 mountains in 10 hours 55 minutes. At the end of the day, the primary priority was raising £3,000 for the Azalea Foundation for childhood cancer,
which you smashed as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we say we. It's not us that did that. It's everyone that supported.
And is that still open? That donation link?
It is. It is still
people
open.
Can still go there now and donate.
Yes. Yeah. When's
go donate? Give them your money.
This won't be out for a few weeks yet.
Yeah. So it'll be closed by the time this comes out. We'll close it later this week. But yeah, we're just underneath 3,500, so we absolutely smashed it, and like I said, that's thanks to everyone's support. So yeah,
definitely, if you haven't already, go check these guys out. They're constantly posting. I say they, I'm assuming it's mostly Aaron. So Aaron's constantly posting, keeping it up to date. I'm sure they'll be doing other crazy things in the future, like you said, whether you post about it or not. But if you do, like, yeah, you can.
We'll post about it. We'll post about it.
He'll post about it.
Amazing. So thank you guys for coming on. We really appreciate your time. It's been a long drive for you guys to get here. A little bit of like organisation coming in and out of it as well. And then yeah, thanks you guys for listening.
Thank you for having us, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for the coffee.
Yeah.
No worries.
It's been good.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Adventure Athletes podcast. If you want to follow us online, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Adventure Athletes. You can also find us on YouTube at The Adventure Athletes as well. If you click on the link in our bio on either account, you can go straight to our link tree where you can follow us on Spotify, where you can listen to the Adventure Athlete podcast for free, where we have loads of amazing guests on from across the fitness and adventure industry and the much wider world as well. You can also follow the link in that link tree as well to our free adventure athlete program, which is called Average to Athlete 1.01 currently, but we'll be always updating throughout the future as we go. So if you do want to try a free program, we've got a bodyweight version and a gym-based version. Go follow us there and find out.